Hello and welcome to another edition of the Movie Kit podcast. I'm your host, Kit Bowen. We got a great show for you today. We're going to review the latest and newest and greatest Marvel slash 20th Century Fox. I don't know, whoever owns this damn thing now. Deadpool and Wolverine already coming out of the gates like gangbusters, made all kinds of money on its preview night. Joining me again is my very good friend Joel Amos. Joel, how are you doing today?
I am very, very well. How about you?
Feeling energized on
Big
many
time.
levels, many levels.
Many. Good point. Very, very, very good point.
Uh, so this is I guess, a threequel to the first two Deadpool movies. It's kind of been a long time coming. I know it got postponed because of the strike, I think. I'm not sure, but we're finally here at it. Let me read the description here. Wolverine is recovering from his injuries when he crosses paths with a loudmouth Deadpool. They team up to defeat a common enemy. Well, that's very vague.
And also, like, if you take the names out of it, it really describes about, I don't know, 800 movies.
Vague. Once again, we have Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool Wade Wilson, and we have Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine, Logan Wolverine. I don't know if I don't think he actually physically ever said I'm never gonna play Wolverine again, but certainly there was a intention that he would not play this role again. But I'm pretty sure Ryan got him involved pretty easily because they seem to be very, very good friends. It also has Emma Corrin in it, Matthew McFadden, John Favreau, and let's just say up front right now that there's going to be spoilers in this review. Now, I don't think that people who live on the internet are going to be surprised by that because there's a lot of stuff's already come out, especially since it opened in Comic-Con. But yes, I think there'll be some spoilers in here. So if you haven't seen the film and you really want to try to keep your surprise level, then just tune out for right now and come back and listen to our review a little later after you see the film. But moving forward, yes, there'll be some spoilers. It's directed by Shawn Levy, which of course is always a good thing. But I'm going to let you start us off. What did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine?
I loved it. I don't even know if loved it's the right phrase to describe it because it's just so incredibly smart. It's so well laid out, and it's a great story. I mean, you gotta have a great story, or we can't even talk about it. But it's got a great story, got great chemistry between its leads, and it's got action sequences that are just absolutely insane. How they're
Yes.
choreographed, as we come to expect from Deadpool movies. Wolverine, X-Men movies, and
Yep.
in a lot of ways, I felt like it was kind of like a love letter to the X-Men in general and mutants,
Yes.
and that was something that I did not expect from this movie is kind of the sentimental aspect of it all in such an R-rated, raunchy, bloody film. It was really, really unexpected, and I
Yeah.
just absolutely loved it. And you know, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool has made it very clear how much he loves Wolverine over the
Yeah.
course of two movies. And when to finally see them together, fighting each other, fighting other people,
Yeah.
um, the banter, it's gold. It is just pure gold. I just loved it. And Shawn Levy, perfect, perfect director. Because for this thing to work, I think you as a director, there's a needle you got to thread.
Yep.
I mean, they break the fourth wall repeatedly. You come to expect it. But there's also like a really compelling story here, and I just think he threads the needle. I think everybody knew the game they were playing. It played it to the best.
Yep. I think so too. And um well, I do kind of want to talk a couple of spoilers with you, but just because they were just so great. But yes, I loved it too. What a ride. I mean, I feel I laughed so hard, and I was clapping like
Hmm.
repeatedly when things,
Yeah,
cameos and whatnot showed up. My favorite, of course, I believe, is the Chris Evans cameo because
right.
one of the
It was a bit,
best setup jokes I've ever seen in a film.
oh, such a bait and switch, and I loved every minute of it.
You think he's Cap?
Yep.
He's not Cap, is he? No, he's Johnny Storm, which I laughed so hard. It was
Do it
so
for
great
Johnny. Do it for Johnny.
because light the torch or whatever the heck he says, light it up. And they were like, oh
Uh,
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I mean, there and of course it's not only is it a love letter to all X-Men, but it's kind of a love letter to some of those superhero movies that came out before Marvel hit the scene. And
hmm.
you know, case in point with some of the great cameos that showed up in this, which I also was clapping my head off over. But I guess I mean the main thread of this was it is still about Wade and his journey and his existential crisis and his family, so to speak, and just the idea that he never could find a real place as a superhero, and he his journey on trying to become like an Avenger and all that kind of stuff. And it's an interesting take. And then, this one does tap into some of the things that have already been introduced, including the multiverse and TVA and all that good stuff. Um, and to be honest with you, I don't think you have to have watched like Loki. You might have needed to see Loki to fully understand what was going on because at one point they are in the void, which is a part of the TVA. When you misbehave, they zap you into the void, which was introduced in Loki, the series. But I don't know if it didn't really take away from it if you didn't know what that was. I mean, you just kind of figured that's what I mean. They sort of half explain it anyway, and then you're kind of like in this ultra Mad Max kind of world, which of course Ryan Reynolds literally just goes ahead and dictates the entire series, entire movie to you, like, always, constantly, like, yeah, well, I didn't know Mad Max was, that kind of thing, and or Furiosa, and oh
Yeah.
my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I mean, it was just hilarious,
Well,
hilarious.
when you're in that scene, that part, and your brain's thinking it, everyone in the theater's thinking it, and then they have this classic moment, and he's just like, "Take that, Furiosa," and you're like, again, just
Oh,
perfect,
behold, Furiosa. I mean, it's
perfect.
just it is great. And I think you're right. I think it does have a lot of heart to it. But I think the main thing that's so I feel like some of the action sequences could have been pared down or even taken out. I mean, how many times are we gonna watch the two of them fight before they become friends? I mean, there was a little bit of much of that. I think my favorite fight scene was in the car,
Oh yeah, the van.
the van, whatever it was.
Yeah,
Um and all the myriad of Deadpool variants too. That was
yeah.
hilarious. But that kind of spun off of the Spider-Man idea,
Hmm.
and
I like Deadpool baby.
and that dog was just gross. There's a
Perfect.
dog, guys. There's a dog in it. But
And
anyway,
it won World's Ugliest Dog.
ah,
Yeah, that's its acronym. That's its cachet for bringing, a fresh blood to the franchise.
so, but yeah, the peril was there. The idea that Wade's universe might be um, finally disintegrating or destroyed because uh, the Wolverine character in his timeline, Logan, basically. And that opening sequence was brilliant with
Yeah.
Logan. And yeah, I mean all of it just I had a great time. I had a really great time. Um I do feel like there was a little muddled there, and like I said, there may be a few scenes, a few action sequences that could have been pared down or whatnot. But other beyond that, though, just a lot of fun. So I mean, I know there's been some criticisms about multiverse. They make fun of it in the movie, of course.
Huh?
I mean, is this really kind of what we're gonna, I mean, this is the world we're in now. I mean, this is pretty much what's gonna happen in the next Marvel movies, right? I mean, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think basically, this was I don't know which camp he'll end in, but I kind of almost feel like this was his audition for the Avengers because we really have a couple of new Avenger movies coming. They're
right,
very high stakes,
right,
and I think making him a part of that, and there's no reason he can't be in the X-Men movies too. Like there's just no
right.
reason. So I think
Are they
he,
making any more X-Men movies?
yeah, they're basically, and actually a lot of the press that came out over the last week that they've done is that Kevin Feige has said that he's talked with Hugh Jackman and this isn't his last time as Wolverine. So I mean
Yeah.
there's going to be another Hugh Jackman Wolverine. I don't know if he's going to get his own movie, but he's going to be a part of something. But I mean, since we're talking about spoilers and we're mentioning it,
Yes.
might I say Henry Cavill?
I know. Ah,
Um, like I
so
saw
good.
that. I'm like, okay, just get in line. The part's yours. You just may have to wait a movie or two because I'm sold. You got it.
I
I mean, what,
know it's
like
true.
10
It's
seconds? He,
true.
he was in it 10 seconds, but I was like, oh my God, he's perfect.
He is perfect. Yeah, that yes. Spoilering again. This was Deadpool decides that he has to find a Wolverine to try to get his universe back on the on the straight and narrow kind of thing, and so he has to go through all the other multiverses to try to find the right one, and he happens upon one that he thinks is the right one. He turns around and it's Henry Cavill. And it was hilarious. Of
My
course, I mean,
favorite is
the other
little,
spoiler, I mean, we can say this spoiler too, but when
yeah.
Jennifer Garner comes
Oh
out as
yeah.
Elektra and then Wesley Snipes comes out as Blade, I was like, wow,
I lost it.
I
I
lost it.
lost it. I just lost it. It just And and I wanted to mention, I'm glad this was brought up because Channing Tatum's there as Gambit.
I know.
And as we all know, they greenlit a Gambit movie, and then I don't know if it was COVID or the strike or both, but it was canceled. It's like, this is not going to happen. Channing
Right.
has moved on. He's got a slew of movies coming out the rest of this year.
Right.
Um, but after seeing him actually play Gambit and play in the sandbox and hear that accent that he's
Yes.
zeroed in on. I'm like, I want a Gambit movie now.
Well, I hope maybe they'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, it took a viral video of Ryan Reynolds in the Deadpool suit for audiences to freak
Yep.
out and Fox to be like, "Hey, let's make a Deadpool movie." I thought that
Yep.
was dead in the water. So they may think Gambit's dead in the water, but when they see the response to
Yep.
what Channing Tatum did with what little he's in this movie, I'm like, he needs his own movie.
Oh yeah. Well, Taylor Kitsch played that character in Wolverine Origins or something like that, I think.
Right, right.
And yeah, I do now have to remember all of that hullabaloo that Channing was going to play it in a
He
movie.
was. It
Yeah, it
was
looks
greenlit.
looks
I
like
don't know
it's
what
going to
happened.
probably happen now. I mean,
Yeah.
why
So,
put him in this and not, and not
yeah,
give a movie to the
like,
guy? So,
I mean, and like you said, just on so many levels, there's
yeah,
this thing. It's really hard to know where to start. I actually, stayed up and wrote a review last night, and I could have written 15, 1,800 words, but I realized that it was just like you almost kind of just like it doesn't need to be that long. Like you just
no,
like 6, 7, 800 words. I captured the spirit, and I
yep,
just really think you get in danger of saying too much. And I
yeah,
think that it's not even about spoilers. It's just that there's so much to enjoy. It's like it'd be easy to go on and on and on. Like um, and it deserves it. And
it does. I mean,
if
I kind of
Twisters,
equate this to the Spider-Man No Way Home in a lot of ways for me.
mhm,
Just how exciting that was to see all the Spider-Mans together and then, all the villains. And I know that people are a little, they are not exactly on the multiverse bandwagon because there have been a few movies now that aren't so great on that respect. But I don't know. It's just, when they do it kind of right, it's fun. And it's fun for people who've been watching these movies forever,
I
yeah,
think in this case, it's kind of like it is a plot point, but it's also a course correction. And I think
Yes.
or not correction, that's not the right word because they didn't do anything wrong, but it's like it's a way that they can set themselves up
Hmm.
like going forward. And again, to quote Feige, something he said, he's like, if Infinity War was a 9 and Endgame was a 10, in his mind, in terms of its importance to the MCU, not like quality of a movie, he
Hmm.
thinks in terms of setting up the MCU, this is an 8.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
you really can also see how that could happen. It's just like yeah, the multiverse, yada yada, I understand, but like I don't think they necessarily need to go to that well after this movie, at
They
least in the
could just,
Deadpool world.
yeah, well, they could just use the people that are in this particular world. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I'm down to see another one of these with the two
Shoot,
of
yeah,
them doing something else. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
So
And I
what
just
rating
got,
would you give this?
ah, boy. Well, I gave it an A, not an A plus, so I have to say 4.5.
Yeah, me
Not quite
too.
five,
Me too. Like I
but
said, there is
4.5.
some bloatedness to it a little bit, but other than
Yeah,
that, just just pure fun. I was
yeah,
gonna I was gonna use bad language and just say it's a
yeah,
just because
yeah.
that's kind of where we're at
And
with
the spirit of it. Yeah, well, I
F
also feel
ton,
like,
F ton of fun.
I mean, what I'm reading, I just before I got on, I did some research. I mean, if Twisters really push that summer blockbuster door open for theater
Mhm.
owners and Hollywood in general, then this movie is going to kick it off the hinges.
Yep.
I
Oh, it's
mean,
gonna
this
make a lot of money.
the early estimates right now are 180 for the
That,
weekend.
I mean, that's we haven't had that in forever.
I don't think we've had that since COVID.
I don't think so either. Mm-mm.
I really don't.
Nope.
And that and no
Trying to
that
think
can be
if
no
Dune made that much money. I don't think
no
so.
no not in a weekend.
Yeah.
So it's
Like I'm
back.
telling you, the we talked right before we started, the response in the movie theater that I
Mhm.
went to a huge, an AMC complex, whatever. The lobby was just jam packed full of people, and my screening was pretty full, but there were actually some empty seats, but still, I mean, there was playing like in five different theaters in the AMC, so I guess there must have been a 3D version too, because some people
Yeah,
were getting 3D glasses.
yeah, I
But
saw
yeah,
that.
I I couldn't get over how crowded it was. And the woman that standing in front of me and checking in, she literally had just seen it and went back to see it again. So I mean, this is definitely
Another
and you know what? It's actually worth repeat viewings, I think,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
Ryan says so many freaking funny things
Oh God. Well,
that
and
you
the other thing
hard to keep up.
one other thing that I wanted to mention and for all the romance lovers out there that this just goes in real life. Um, there are so many. Like Blake Lively posted a TikTok because she feels like she's never felt so seen by her husband, and she
Aw,
listed all the things in the movie that he did. There's Avril Lavigne. There's In Sync. There's this. There's
yes,
this.
yes,
Comment
yes.
about Gossip Girl is
Oh, I know.
right.
He
You
goes,
know, it's Bones. So like
uh,
it's also a love letter to his love. Like, I mean,
yeah,
what's not to love? And I don't know. I just feel like oh, the other thing I was going to say is like this isn't necessarily a metric, but it's one of the great things to end on here is when people in our business post on Facebook, back for viewing number 4,
yeah,
like you know this thing's going to be huge. I
yeah,
mean, if people who see movies for a living are going back again and again and again,
yeah,
this thing goes to a whole nother level.
yeah. And it's good. It's good because we're
Hmm.
getting into the doldrums of August. So not a whole lot
Yes.
going on in August, but that we've come to expect that. They put all their ducks up front right there for the summer, and
Yeah.
I think this is the last bastion of great summer movies. So, and what a way to end this summer on, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I 4.5 stars for me too. So
Yeah. Except there is a movie coming out next week that I hope is fantastic.
what's
And it
that?
shares a release date with a film that made this filmmaker famous. It shares a release date with The Sixth Sense. And it is M. Night
Oh,
Shyamalan's
yeah.
Trap.
That's next week. Yes,
I
yes.
mean, if that can be pulled off, I mean, you're swinging for the fence with that idea
Yeah.
that you're going to catch a serial killer at a pop concert. Like, okay, I'm listening.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
So
see.
anyway,
I mean,
we'll see.
we'll see. We won't, what, unfortunately, I am going to be out of town next weekend, so we won't be able to do that one next week, but hopefully we'll can do that when I get back, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm
Because
going
I
to see
think,
it, and I'll give my 2 cents when we can.
cool, cool, cool. All right, Joel, thank you so much for joining
Mm-hmm.
again. And guys, everyone, just remember this was a spoiler, but certainly well worth watching. Go see
Mm-hmm.
this movie if you love them all, and we do, and it's so funny and great. So definitely go check
Yep.
it out. All right,
Yep.
everyone, take care. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.